And there we go. Good morning, WPPL. This is Tele Tanker of the Black Panther Legion. Coming you with a lot of background noise as I'm kind of forced to operate from this premise. I was going to stream Farming Sim. However, the server's not on. So you are going to get me uh, talking over this active screen saver of a game that is old school RuneScape of all things. I'm usually playing Farming Sim at this time, so there is that. So I'm pretty much out of my depth over here, just trying to stream something else because this is more or less my third stream ever. So I don't have any idea about the sound balance and all these things. So we'll deal with this as we go. Try to get things sorted. I'm sure we'll be fine once I get all the background noises in order. So, yeah, Asterker, I will try to have some fun. It's always an interesting to run these at this time, but this is what is convenient for me because for those that do not know, I'm Eurotrash, so I'm pretty much playing like on time. Most of the people in Europe would be at work. The States, unless you work graveyard, are deep at sleep, and Australians are doing something. Yes, we are playing RuneScape of all things, and we are playing the old school version. Yeah, Astergo, I can. How to put this? I have the privilege of being on paid study leave of all things because, yeah, I live in Finland and I can get away with that. So I'm just drawing this into, do a bit of community TV. And basically have a break on my studies. That is pretty much it. And as I can operate you through the WPPL 76, I don't have to worry about the usual streamer shenanigans. There's always other people to fill the great community TV we have here. I think I'm going to be running for about 1 hour and 40 minutes. Then I'm going to let Stuka some time to prepare his shenanigans. And if my memory serves me right, it's going to be Hearts of Iron 4 with the Fallout mod, if I'm not mistaken. So that's going to be that, and then it's going to be Stuka with Xintar next week. So that is also a nice thing. I think he's operating every other week. So we are doing a slight adjustment at these wee hours of the night for the US people. And I think Xintar is operating on his preferred slot because, well, it happens with his schedule, and we do have Aussie and Kiwi representation in the Legion. So there is that. So yeah, I'm basically continuing what I'm what I was doing uh, yesterday in this game. So just doing Slayer, and then I'll probably go and stare at trees and continue my ramble until the streaming time is over. Hopefully get some viewer interaction. I'm not entirely sure how many of you are there because I cannot see it from things. Thank you for the follow. I'm pronouncing nicknames is going to be interesting, so apologize for the times I will probably butcher them. So thank you for PG for following. Welcome to the WPPL. We are a community TV that streams many things and has, I would say, uh, a relatively comprehensive catalog of personalities. Um, Helldivers has been quite popular of late, but I think that's a very common phenomenon. I haven't myself gotten into it yet, mainly due to the fact that I am a person that is somewhat thrifty, and I do also have other commitments with my time. So there's that. But I'll just roll with it. Have you guys gotten any of that Helldiver goodness? Like I have to like admit that I really do like people watching it. As far as Australians and like gravity goes, I think there are some entities and animals and especially spiders there that just the gravity has given a free pass. Like I was there in 2019 for a month, so I visited like Queensland and mainly Brisbane, then Melbourne and Sydney. So like because I mostly stuck in the cities, um, I didn't see a lot of the wildlife apart from visiting Melbourne soon. And one thing that stuck with me was huntsman. Huntsman spiders. That thing, for how large it actually is, has no right to move that fast. It has no right to move that fast. Like it is ridiculously fast for such a large spider. And even though like most of them are harmless, even though they can be aggressive to humans, they still give me the jitters. I know the small ones are probably the most dangerous, but that's how it is. So there's that. What? Then I did meet actually like one of the insects that I despise the most, and that is cockroaches. We don't have them a lot here in Finland. We have mosquitoes to to compensate. You learn to live with them, or you have the equipment to live with them. So like yeah, it's Yeah, I just dislike cockroaches. Like, I know some people will have like terrariums full of them, but yeah, yeah, Tirak, just to comment, yeah, that is a solution. And just to comment on Creedy on Hello Tibers, oh, like connecting, uh, like with old online friends. I genuinely think that's one of some of the like genuinely best times because like life tends to drift people away, but occasionally you have time to reconnect and remember the good old times. Astergo, I have no doubt. like, like, yeah, it's it is what it is. Like, you have your dislikes, and obviously, like, if I would live in an environment that would have cockroaches, I would uh, get used to them to some degree. But I think that's how it is with everything. I'm still pretty much like kill them with fire, like oh greedy, like yeah, like over here, like yeah, like if you have a dislike for mosquitoes, don't come to Finland. Like just don't for the specific times of the year. Like it's really it's really bad, especially if the summer has been wet. Like, don't get me wrong, there are easy ways apart from having more tasty people with you to avoid them. And it's only like a specific period that is worse than the rest. But even then, like, you'll either need store bought things or you will need to have a fire constantly running or something else to, you know, comfortably exist outside in the evenings, which are really nice because we do have almost nightless night in the area where I'm living. So there is that. So, but no, it's again, each country has its own ups and downs. Like, I'm I'm still very glad that this country allows me to exist in a semi-hillbilly way. Uh, like for contrast, I live in a city which would probably be considered a large town in most of the world, so it's 120,000 people. So like when you go beyond the suburbia, you still have a lot of force. You have a lot of things. To answer your question, what I'm studying, I'm going to be engineer, and it's going to be logistics. So I do get to make all the Calcornia joke. It's a bachelor's degree in engineering in logistics. So a lot of like stuff like internal logistics, procurement, purchasing, all the contracts and transportation stuff, and warehouse designing and all that fun in quote stuff. Like my previous work history is relatively spread, but the last 5 years I've been basically a storage worker with a funny hat. like to comment on that Canada thing without googling. Yeah, sure, it's possible. It's like isolation is a very valid tactic when it comes to keeping people penned in, especially if they don't have like survival skills or equipment. Yeah, Astergo. Yeah, like I did that 5 years mainly in supply chain management, so all that stuff. So you probably have experience yelling at SAP, like like I do. it's uh it's a great program when it works, and modern warehouse management systems are quite nice compared to what I have seen, earlier when I have seen basically vivids from the past. Like it's like like obviously like not every sub integration is created equal. I have to I have to say this, but like SAP still, especially in its current form when it's implemented properly, it's a very good tool for what it's worth. But the like some software like I have dealt with some proprietary like ERP and warehouse management systems, and yeah, like it's it is what it is. Like I have only seen, I think, the JD Edward stuff like from that era. Like in screenshots, like apart from some proprietary stuff, like I have only seen like yeah, a handful of things. Like I'm in the I've done 2 full years of my studies alongside work, so I am on my third year. I have about 2 years to go. So like some of the internships and work, because I will do a paid internship, I will get to know some of the stuff that is transferred over to SAP from one of the older systems, without giving too much away in here. And Astergo, I do agree, and like in all ERP software, it's like and working with any means of like resource planning, like it's going to be the fact that whether people following instructions also not admit when they did dumb and couldn't get something done. Because the most atrocious things when it comes to like software not working as intended is that when people don't want to admit they did something wrong, and this exists in all forms of corporate culture. First of all, it allows the learning experience to go to waste, and it probably allows some other people to make that same mistake again. And it's bad for the person, it's bad for the company, it's bad for the customer. Okay, Asterker, like, I will trust your assessment on that. And I I have used software like that. Like it's before that work, and that is now close to 14 years ago. Oh no, that's a long time ago. I used to work for the National Postal Service, and yeah, at the time when I was working there, I like I'm turning 36 this year, so they were using a program from the 90s, uh, more or less how it was to facilitate the distribution of like one of the daily magazines over here, and stuff arrived at like 3 a.m. and had to be on the way with the people taking those magazines to each individual household that had it ordered was at 4 a.m. So it was, using a clunky software and then, um, well, then just basically doing some of the lists by hand. Uh, um, Basically like a road waypoint system they used. And it was not like oh, I have a tablet with all these addresses where I need to go and I can cross over things. No, it's a paper list pushed into weatherproof pockets and then distributed to people. Yeah, it's not optimal, but I think they only changed away from that system like maybe 5 years after I left, so it was in use for a long time. But again, like for the average person doing it, it was probably not the end of the world, to be completely fair. Because, if they knew their route, uh, there were usually only like a couple of adjustments every other week or so. So you just roll with that. But in the modern world, I could not imagine running with a system like that, especially with the level of service like that is nowadays demand of these things. Like most of the people that are very demanding want to adjust their things like sometimes daily, sometimes even a couple of times a day. Like you can see it in all levels of management. And greedy, just to comment on that, uh, yeah, there are some things like that. There are like, and a good example of programs that is updated maybe uh, at worst points maybe every 10 to 20 years is a lot of CNC machining and CAD machine software actually. Hi, Toilet Obliterator, thank you for the bid. And I think everyone is quite chilled. We are just having a lot of me rambling. So, but yeah, like I have seen some machine shops just and thank you for the sub. There we go. So yeah, I have seen a lot of machine shops like just like update the internal programs every like 10 to 20 years when the machines were updated. Because you really don't want those things interrupting your production. If you have a software update that goes wrong and you want to have a machine with maximum uptime, it's going to be a hassle to get it sorted, and most of the machines are in internal network anyway, or they are just as is, because, well, they don't need to, they don't need to be connectable outside. There are some newer CNC get machines that want to send information to, their manufacturer to have data, but it's kind of one of those things that very many companies that have to deal with sensitive customer work, they thank you for giving this up for 12 Obliterator. Sorry, I'm butchering your nickname. It's just how it is. So, and yeah, Astergo, you now have pants. So, that's nice. That's very nice. Yeah, Theo, that's fair. That's fair. I think that's what is it? It's a shortcut some people take. my English is failing me at this hour. I don't want to call people toilet, so I with just toilet. I go with Theo. Yeah, about that um segregated network stuff. Yeah, like I think you know as well as me, Asterko, like legally supposed uh, does not guarantee that, well. Yeah, like legally supposed is not guaranteed that they have. I have seen my share of stuff that is supposed to be in order, it's supposed to be up to standard, and then you go and look at it, and it's like, hey, I could have done this at home, and it's not nearly the level it's supposed to be. Yeah, well, Asterco, like yeah, squirrel and stuff like that. Like I can get some things off my tongue very easily, and it's Finnish is a weird one when it comes to languages. For example, a squirrel would be orava. So, and if you go to Swedish and Norwegian, um, they are, because they belong to the same language family. They are quite similar. Also, welcome to Sir Shagio. Welcome to the community TV that is WPPL. I'm still finding my ways through interacting and doing things game at the same time. This is a lot of getting the swing of things. Theo, yeah, I I'm not gonna lie, that is fair. Like, I was in Dublin like 8 years ago, and some of the locals, yeah, like when you go into the countryside, like English is not given, but it's the same thing everywhere, so you learn to roll with it, more or less. Theo, yeah, that's fair. And that's one of those things that like I can somehow fumble my way through leading a bit of like Cyrillic, but Irish like this, yeah, it's I I don't have the uh camera crammed into my small brain, so no dice. Oh, good old Louisiana. Everyone wants to poke them with a stick. Like, it's some people say that they kind of deserve it and it's justified, and some people don't. Uh, I don't know enough people from over there to say whether they deserve it or not. But yeah, like it's people. Some people I know used to call them the French state, which is not completely wrong, especially if they want to go there. Like, okay, I take your word for it, Theo. I'm not going to even try. So let's see. And I forgot the money. But yeah, like it's like well, as we jump into this line of conversation, like at least from outsiders' point of view, like a lot of the areas in United States are very interesting, especially when you look at some of the tri-state areas and how how things change if you go 100 miles to that direction, even though you are supposed to be in the same country. And there are people that say that like places like Virginia and West Virginia are not so different. But based on the people that I have talked, especially on the West Virginia side, it's it's, it's quite different. Like West Virginia for me feels like a warmer Finland, and I I have one Finnish friend living there, so I might be biased because I'm getting a very uh, projected comparison because he's from around where I'm living now. Oh, the old yeah, the like laws like that are understandable to the degree, but also it is at times like mind-boggling how like how much they can change, and it's not just like it's not if you only take like items like that you could basically have a more controversial discussion over. Yeah. Oh, Astergo, yeah, I'm very uh, aware of that. Just you know, start the conversation with. So you are Virginian, and it's not it's going to be one of those interesting ones. Not necessarily with everyone, and there are probably times and places you can get away with, you know, being the ignorant foreigner. But especially if you are American, I think they might give you a lot of side eye for saying things like that. And yeah, like it's like here the whole gambling system is nationalized, even though we can still really freely poke at things in Europe and globally. It's just a tax-based system, even though I am very blessed to live in a country that has a decent the system of taxation, so I don't need to touch a lot of it. In the same way that people living in states do, and I have made some American friends despair when we have compared like tax systems. But that's enough of that subject. So anyway, I'm going to track my character to Woodcutting Guild, and then I'm going to do a bit of that so I can have a more engaging conversation, because I have noticed that sorry, that's an interesting call at this time. Uh, I do need to take this up in some point, but not now. Not now. So anyway, it took me a while to gather my thoughts. Yeah, like I'm very used to doing things while I fumble away in farming sim. Like I don't know like a lot of the stuff that like I could do very well in that game, but at least I have played it on stream for more concentrated amount of time. So that definitely helps. Astrago, yeah, but this is my third stream, so it's like I think it's a skill you can accrue like long enough time. I have noticed that most of the skills have learned during my life has been done by slowly uh, bashing my head against, well, mentally, against the thing I've been trying to learn. And once I get enough exposure, once I get enough hands-on time, I will learn it. It just needs to be either a very concentrated effort, or it needs to be something that I have a lot of exposure with all the time. Like I'm it's very nice to be in a school that does a lot of lecture material, because it's basically online courses with me visiting the school every couple of months. So there's a lot of prep study material. A lot of the books we have can be turned very well to text to speech, because most of these things are in English in our field, and it definitely helps. So yeah, that's something that I do. Like I generally spend about 4 to 6 hours each day listening to lectures, doing assignments, listening to the books in audio form, and then every once in a while I have like a more concentrated effort to go through these things. Because again, like my chosen life paths have led to a point that I only have so much time or ability to sit in front of the computer. So the first exposure to a lot of stuff I get while driving in the car and having the having the lecture on speakers or whatever. Oh, I'm doing a simple task like around the house, and it gets the thing done. Like I I have even passed a couple of courses by listening to them while doing forestry. So there is that. And I think it's a very nice way to go through a lot of this stuff, because um, especially when you go to a degree that you have like some experience from the field, some of the courses are all about building like foundational knowledge and then just rolling with that. There are definitely things like the design courses that I just need the hands on time, but there's a lot of surrounding theory that can be covered. TO and Ostrogo, that sounds really nice. Another benefit of having a uh, community TV with internet strangers, like I have lurked, I think about 3 years the Legion, something like that, and then I have been following AUX for a couple of years, and like both of the communities are somewhat similar, somewhat different, but both of them are very decent places uh, for internet weirdos to hang around in. Like I have seen my share of online communities, and you know, not to raise us to a pedestal, uh, we are still shit posters extraordinaire, but you know, a lot of like-minded people in the community has always helped, has always like combined people. There are always going to be edge cases with any community. That's just the way of things. And I think most of the people here might be in the orgs. If you are not, you can do !Discord and you can get address for the Discord server that is open for everyone. So if you want to hang around with some internet weirdos, there we go. That's the link you can click. And those of you that are just attending by just finding this place on Twitch, yeah, we are a community TV for Black Pants Legion, and I think Orcs is also doing their own channel as well. So we can offer a wide variety of things. A lot of people have the underlying deep secret of liking battle tech, but not everyone. But yeah, I originally wormed my way to this community through battle tech. It's something I do like, and my profile mech is a Firestarter FS9S1 with Pipfire per cockpit and custom camo. I had one of the Legionnaires draw it for me, and you can find that same person in the Ox as well. And he goes by the name of Crispy, so he did not manage to lose most of his sanity while making this project with me. But Theo, that is completely fair. Like, that was my original entry point. And I came for BattleTech, I stayed for a lot of other things. Because it turns out internet videos think alike. I think that's the only way to describe that. Yeah, Theo, I like crispy style. Like there is a thing to be said, for a touch more realistic things. But I'm of the mind that you can even in if it's battle tech stuff, if it's something else, if you like art, you can appreciate many styles, especially in the current age where AI is a big topic to discuss. Oh yeah, Theo, those are something like I I I always do have a Jimmy's chuckle when Tex and Deputy are doing things. Yeah, Sturger, I do think like as many games go, the hairpin schemes ones it's a really solid one to start. And my favorite flavor of The 2018 BattleTech is BattleTech Advanced. It's so BTA 3062. It's amazing how much they have done with that game, even though they are running a lot of like limitations of Unity engine. But again, it is what it is. The only game like sorry, that I could say that would surpass the BattleTech 3062 is probably Megamech, but that is like Megamech is not necessarily for everyone, but it's like it's also displaying a fundamental problem. Like if you want to go genuinely deep, to get that deep, in some point, user friendliness is kind of is usually going to go out of the window. I I think that's the nicest way I can say that. Like whether it's Dwarf Fortress, whether it's Mech, whether it's some of the grand strategy games made by one guy we have, or whether it's something else like that. So, like, I'm not saying that you like cannot have a decent game like with these. With these complicated games, but yeah, like I still like. If nothing else, the UI or the graphical intonation, like interface, is going to be dated. If nothing else, and like once you make an engine that is complicated enough to like simulate something you want, that is not always the best engine for a modern UI or modern graphics engine. But again, like Yoshi, yeah, I do tend to agree. Like, and I think like the way to get a lot around of that like complicated nature of things with a lot of options would be to make a bunch of smaller games and have them talk with each other. But that does bring another subset of problems, especially when we are talking about like passion projects. And it's like, and in some games, it's also very clear to see that when you have a passion project, sometimes people will go beyond what it was originally intended or can make incremental upgrades, like in Dominion 6. Yeah, sure. I think like it's. I think that's a very good example of that. It's like and like I can personally attest to a 3.5 can make a very interesting campaign when you have all the source books. You can make a lot of stuff happen, like player character wise or an enemy wise. Yeah, I have seen. I one of my oldest friends is like eternal Crocknard uh, GM that we joke about that like we dig him from his cave like every couple of years to DM like a 6 week campaign for old times Jake, and then we put him back to hibernation. Yeah, I don't know the exact number, but it is like very like atrocious amount of books. Like let's see what Google says. Yeah, well, I think it. uh, yeah, Yoshi. Yeah, not to. I didn't find a number of exact books immediately, but yeah, it's about that size when you store the permanently loaded version. Astego, I tend to do that, and for those that don't know why I call this like an active screensaver, this is something that I keep doing during my lectures that I have to actively uh, participate in. Because even though most of my teachers are actually really good, and they can like pace their lectures. Okay, guys, let's have a coffee break. Let's um, go to have lunch. Er, uh, because most of this stuff is like again attended online, so I'm not going to be there like in the lecture hall playing a game. But like every once in a while, uh, usually a couple times a month, we have a guest lecture coming in. And even though some of them can be like experts in their field, um, they take their sweet time. Um, Yoshi, I'm going to be. It's an bachelor engineering degree in logistics. So yeah, like so sometimes the guest lecture will go like ham for 3 to 4 hours, and like like most of us don't mind because a lot of these people are currently working in the field or have extensive experience, but I personally cannot keep my concentration for maybe anything more than like 50 minutes to an hour, and then it slowly starts to degrade unless I have something. So uh, this is my fidget spinner. No one is like I think it's Yoshi. I think it's really telling, uh, because these are the people that like even though the course is like only for X number of students, Usually, like, there are people coming to listen to these guest lectures from other courses, so they attract attention outside the course, which is already very telling. Like, even though we have a relatively free education system, so it doesn't cost you to attend something like this. Uh, Still, the garner outside interest like immediately tells me that these people would be very, very valid listeners somewhere else. So it's nice that they take time to come around and share a bit of their wisdom. Yeah, Yoshi, like the school, I'm finished. So like I'm studying in the University of Applied Sciences, and the only yearly charge that we have is yearly healthcare payment that every higher education student needs to pay. And you don't have to belong to the student union, so the total cost of year is let me do napkin math. It's about 100 euros. So depending on what level of like you still might need a student loan for living or whatever, depending on what level of social support you're getting. But yeah, no, it's it's free. So like uh, even though, just to put this to context, we don't have the income spectrum of the United States. So even if you do graduate, like your prospects are not nearly as big as in states. Like but yeah, like Yoshi, it's not that level. Like people do accrue student debt. But it's mainly for the living part. Like I have like people that have accrued like but like I think the worst I have seen is some people that like um they didn't needed to add they did not need to take part in conscription because they were female. So they went from primary school directly to high school or sixth form, and from there directly to the university. Uh, then up after bachelor's, got master's directly. Uh, Worked a couple years as research intern, and then went for the doctorate. And they accrued maybe closer to 30,000 euros of student debt. But again, even that is peanuts compared to states. Um, and yeah, like it's nice to have the chance, because the unfortunate thing with education, especially nowadays, uh, because the even though we have somewhat of a flexible education system, it does not always keep up with the demands of the working life. So you can, due to the circumstances, end up graduating and not have work in that field. So it's a nice. It's still, I think, a very nice thing that you can again get those skills. Uh, but like don't have to gamble on that chance of getting that offered mobility by getting the job. And well, says Kellyman, thank you for taking part, and thank you for lurking. And Yosu, yeah, just to comment, like, I think we live at a time that if you work in some fields that require expertise, it's going to be one of these lifelong learning deals. I really do not mind that. I I, I do like learning new things and like supplementing my skill set. Like and I wouldn't put myself through studying past 30 if I wouldn't like it. Obviously, like once you are in the field that you like existing in, it's going to be more incremental learning. Sorry, than going back to school, like for 4 years, at least hopefully. I hope that apart from doing the masters in some point, this is the last degree I will study. Because even though I'm not ancient, like 36 is pushing what I would comfortably want to again study in. Yeah, Yoshi, that sounds like a nice and decent career path. And well, some people have more natural chances to accrue that in like doing their work. So yeah, I I tip my hat to you, Yoshi. Like that's a lot of like diplomas. So, but that's the thing. If you manage to keep up with the demands of working life with the spread of skills you are required to have or should have, yeah, that's the way to go. And why I think it's good to have like a wide array of skills is that the more skills you have, the more irreplaceable you can be at times, or even if you are eventually replaceable. Uh, with a wide skill set, I would not think that it wouldn't be an hindrance for finding work. And that's how I have personally always approached these things. But again, this is coming from a weird thing that is part hillbilly. Yeah, blue collar job tends to accrue like varying levels of appreciation. I think we are in a country that still values most of that, though it tends to be quite divided on some of these things. But like I have basically split my career like this. I have this forestry thing going on in real life, plus some other lines of work that feed into that man-child frenzy. And then my goal is to have 20 hours a week of expert work. Okay. Related to logistics. And yeah, then that's going to be it's like the logistic expertise side is going to be a guaranteed income that I can still work from home, and forestry is going to be manual stuff to keep my hands busy. Yeah, just to comment on Yoshi's and um, TO stuff. Yeah, like you need trade skills, and I think why I went to work in storage instead of like going to study logistics like immediately was that I wanted to get some hands-on time in the field, because it's such a wide spectrum of things, from supply chain management, warehousing, uh, the global forwarding, purchasing, procurement, and blah blah. And again, you need to see that from the ground level so you can make all the Cargonia memes. Like, at least it makes you understand them and cry a little bit inside. Because I can confess that I have yelled to a box a couple of times. And it might be more than a couple of times. But that has allowed me to also, have a more fundamental understanding of these things, because even though we have all these fancy certificates, um, if some things are not done well, they will be hindrance to the person doing the actual work. Yeah. And well, like sometimes, like the amount of work for trade skills does plummet, like when the country switches from low level manufacturing industry to high tech and a lot of basically switches from low value addition items to high value items that have been refined through the process. It's there's going to be a lot of like the blue collar work disappearing, but again, that's economics and maths to a degree. I'm just reading through the comments, so like, just bear with me. Yeah, like sometimes, like a lot of the experience can be anecdotal, like when it comes to this, but like it's it is like what Theo and you guys have said, like it really doesn't go away. You still need you need carpenters, you need welders, you need plumbers doing their thing, you need HVAC people do their magic so you don't fry up in the summer or freeze at the winter and stuff like that. That needs to happen regardless the salary and education levels of everyone around you. Those skills need to happen, and like I am very happy to be from a family that has always fostered the fact that you need to learn to do some things yourself, or at least know to a level that you can hire someone to do them for you. But yeah, it's like engineering degrees, like, and STEM in general. Um, in some places, uh, it is something that is the sub situation and the demands of the position are very interesting, especially for people that come from school. But yeah, whether it's like an expert engineering position or an expert trade skills, like there's always going to be trouble solving, and I think for a lot of high demand work, that's the key takeaway. You need to be able to solve something, or at least you need to know. Like if we are talking tech support, like we were talking a couple days ago, uh, you need to know when to escalate. And there are still, like, for example, I know programmers uh, that Theo, yeah, I completely agree. Like it's like, like it's not so common in here, fortunately, but I have traveled around the world enough times to see it when, especially in the service industry, where that is very apparent. And I did get the brunt end of the stick because I worked like a couple years as a bouncer. So and yeah, as far as it goes for like management, uh, not always is bad, as we are talking in the chat here. But middle management can be very guilty of that because they are supposed to be the ones that will, facilitate, um, the people in the workers in the ground, the tradies doing their job. Yoshi, I have actually seen like, yeah, I know that I have been very lucky in some point, and like, and this is the different thing, like, sorry, my thought got there. Yoshi, that is very fitting to something I have seen. I do have opposing experiences when there is a highly skilled, uh, middle manager that has done the job and knows how to facilitate the people on the ground doing their job, and every once in a while occasionally goes and does the work with them. But most of his time or her time has been spent facilitating the work of others or troubleshooting. But yeah, there are um, people that have gotten to the middle management position just being at the right place at the right time. Yeah. And like and Yoshi, I have to say though, like sometimes these people might know uh, a lot of things. Uh, they are just not directly related to facilitating the work, which usually means that they are in wrong position to begin with. They would be better off, like, doing some of the HR stuff, uh, managing accounting. They would be more skilled at, but you know, uh, some some people just like happen to get into those positions for one reason or another. And unfortunately, sometimes, whether it's brown nosing, if you want to call it that, whether it's nepotism, whether it's, something else, uh, they do exist and are not getting rid of for one reason or another. Yeah, and like, and it's like and it really depends, like how you work. Like again, the forestry stuff is just me. Like 90% of the time. So I can go and yell at the trees, and that's the that's the way I approach these. That's the way that's the way I like have built my life around. Um, Yoshi, not always. The trees don't always yell back, but when the boxes or the trees yell back, usually at that point you know that you have maybe worked too much. Oh, but yeah. So like my approach to lessening the worst of working life uh, has been more or less basically just limiting the exposure. Like if you're working part time somewhere as a contractor with very decent pay for the amount of hours you put in, uh, you are not getting the same level exposure than someone working like full time on that place. And because like in the future especially I will be hired for my skills, and then the fact that even though being an internet weirdo, I have somewhat decent social skills, and I'm usually very interested in what I do, and I can market those skills. So I think most places will keep me hiring purely based on my performance. And that's going to be it. That's going to be the focus of the relationship. That is going to be what I get out of it. Yeah, and it's like and it's mainly like I have worked very hard to facilitate where I am right now. So in a couple of years, it's going to be the forestry is going to be its own thing. The only reason I work is that I want income that is easily projectable, and I don't need to, fumble around with mixing like personal finances and the estate finances. So I can keep the forestry estate and the other stuff doing its own thing, and then the amount I need for living is going to come from the part-time work. but I can survive. I'm very glad to be in that position with just one of them, even without resorting into the help of my spouse. So I don't need to go to his piggy bank to be. Yeah, like I think everyone or a lot of people have, not everyone, but that was a blanket statement, but most of the people have had the experience, at least for a couple of months, living from paycheck to paycheck and not having any long-term savings or anything else. Like, that's unfortunately just the way of world. But yeah, we both built our whole relationship and other things in a way that okay, this is together money, this is independent money, these are the wills, these are the prenuptial agreements, blah blah blah. uh, we build everything in a way that is there for long term. So if something would happen to one of us, whether that's medically or otherwise, uh, both of us are covered, and I'm personally covered. So we have basically set our life in a way that we could we could just live with one of our salaries for a couple of years. It would be tight, it would be less than optimal, and the another person would probably need to take some extra hours, but it could be done. Just purely because of the fact that we have been relatively pessimistic about the whole thing. And I think that's same way to approach things, because even if you have dreams, like you think your favorite like oh, I'm going to make this you know plank product, I'm going to make charcoal from these things, I'm going to make this and this and this, but making money requires money and time, or in my case a lot of uh elbow grease, sweat and tears with the equipment I have, and then having a good eye on what do I do personally and what do I let the professionals do, because that is also something that, even though you can at a glance think, oh, if I sell the planks or sell the lumber in this form and cut it myself, I'm going to you know save this much. But when the people doing that sort of stuff, that I basically leave the professionals, mainly the actual felling of specific types of lumber and things like that. There's a lot of you know uh, tax returns that I can get by using a service like that. Uh, I will also get more usable wood in higher grade than I would do it on my own. There's stuff like this, so it is surprisingly close to zero difference, even if you would save some money initially while uh, doing it on your own. You could argue that you could learn, but doing some of the stuff by hand, unless you live and breathe something like that, you are not ever going to be a forcing machine with foreign equipment. I mean, with specialized equipment. Yeah, Yoshi, exactly. Like like that forestry machine is going to make the stuff that I facilitate them to do easily. Like my time doing forestry is most valuable either doing high value task, so turning lumber to planks, making charcoal, or like doing smoke treatment to planks, or just doing other tasks to facilitate the forestry machine going around the estate. Because the more time they need to spend getting rid of the smaller stuff or thinning, that's going to be Astergo. I am a little bit out of my depth how it is done in English, but I'll give it my best shot. So, yeah, Yoshi, yeah, chalk does help. Mainly, the way we do it is that we use 2 steel vessels. So one of them is somewhat smaller. It's going to be put inside another vessel. The first vessel that is inside the main one is going to be filled with wood that is turned to additional charcoal and is completely closed either by a lid, either by liquid sand or whatever. Then the area between these vessels, so the outside of the first one, the inside of the second one, is going to be filled with sacrificial wood, which is going to be one heating the container. And this burning of the wood on the outside is going to start something we call pyrolysis, and it's going to get rid of all the stuff in the wood inside the first vessel that is not going to be charcoal. So the process will turn the wood to charcoal, and once you burn it long enough, you then, take the vessel out, go unchecked. Yes, and the process of pyrolysis needs to happen without air. So that's where the magic happens. You can make it with an open fire or like a traditional kiln, but even then, yeah. Yoshi, it's not the full vacuum per se, obviously, but it is very controlled airflow. Astergo, here you are confusing charcoal and coal. That's where the difference comes here. But yeah, like I have learned most of this stuff in Finnish, so it's used a lot in chemistry. The direct translation would be dry distillation. So for those that know physics, that's the process chemistry wise. And if you want to if you want to read more about it, it is Wikipedia is your friend, and there is like it can take like varying forms. It can really be yeah, Astergo with most things there can be combustion. I don't want to put some tinfoil chemistry classes on, like, uh, but like, and that's beyond the scope of what I want to try to explain in English. But anyway, um, because like you can have some chemical reactions that will produce oxygen. Uh, but no, it does not. Like the pyrolysis distillation is yeah. I was about to say that. Yeah, Terramata is a good example. I um like why you hear me struggling. Some of the chemistry is also very involved in other things that should be done in only in Minecraft, if you know what I'm saying, according to Twitch. I don't generally want to go a lot more further than what Yoshi is saying. Yeah, and a lot of like there's a thing that certain things are either high intensity fires or explosions in Minecraft. So yeah, but anyway, so basically you will heat up the vessel there, and the pyrolysis will turn the wood to charcoal. So basically, like what is put into the first vessel is going to be the wood that is mostly suited for charcoal, and the rest outside is it's just going to be whatever sacrificial wood to produce the heat. There are things you can fine tune in the process to produce more higher quality, have less waste, and blah blah blah. Like there is a temperature range that it will occur like ideally without wasting too much of the fuel while making it, and going past a specific temperature range is not going to make it better. And then it's just like once the process is done, you are basically just sorting it out to crates, because like we do actually have smithy as a premises, because my father's a blacksmith, so he will use some of the charcoal to do his smithing stuff. And yeah, that is pretty much so. It's usually sorted to a what goes into the smithy, or like tasks that require higher heat. So generally pieces that are like the most consistent, and then it's the stuff for like grilling, and then it's for whatever else from heating to random stuff. So like it's a way to, again, like it's a value increasing method of processing that uses some of the stuff that I will get from tilling those pads for the forestry machines, and you can also use against like You can use direct heat or pyrolysis to heat lumber, because like once you have a charred surface, it's going to be relatively weather resistant. Uh, some of the original techniques are by Japanese. If you are interested about that. Yeah, like we do a lot of like we do have a smoker in the premises, so uh yeah, a lot of smoked meat, and you can do like a lot of like you can do a lot of like things like basically barbecue pit stuff with charcoal. You can do we have a tradition of like using indirect heat to cook things under the ground. So you are basically making like meat that you will wrap up and bury in the ground and make fire over. You can shortcut that process by, you know, just burying the meat and placing the coals above and making the fire. And like smoked and grilled fish is something I really like, especially when it's fresh off the pond. And like it's a whole spectrum of things that you can make, especially when you have charcoal readily available. And I do like also like again like American style pits with like big roasts just being turned and stuff like that. And also like you can use like if you want to addition a lot of your like quite good goods with smoke, or just want to make more actively tried stuff, you can still like use heat for dehydrating a lot of things. Like I dehydrated a lot of beef we had last year just purely with fire instead of like using a dehydrator. So it was a very low level of indirect heat, and then just a small amount of smoke to get the flavor. Like and especially like when you are at the premises, you have time to stoke the fires and do man style stuff like that. That's how I like a lot. Why I like a lot of my chosen field. Like, don't get me wrong, forestry can be uh, hard work. Uh, a lot of it, like apart from tinning, just understanding what you do does require prior skill. And in general, but again, that is everything. And like again, some of the job I will do, I'm not going to benefit completely myself unless I take a very, very how to put this. I take a very um, bad approach as far as the environment is concerned. So I'm not going to see benefit of some of this work that I'm now doing. It will be somebody after me. So there is that. Like I am basically gathering some fruits of labor from things that my father or grandfather did. So there is that. It's a very interesting feel in the way that like if you take good care of your forest, it just gives you back in so many ways. Yeah, Yoshi, that is very fitting when it comes to this, and like there are different approaches, even if it's within legal limits here. Yeah, Asterka, like again, thank you for stopping by. You can find me in Ocean the Legion, and I will be here more or less every week. I will probably start 1 hour earlier next week, as Xintar and Stuka are going to be in. And then, yeah, this should be my time. Next time, I'm probably doing Farming Sim again, if the server is working. If not, then not. Then I'm doing probably old school RuneScape again and talking my time away with things. But now I need to start wrapping this thing because Tuka is coming online soon, so I have to give him time to prepare. Thank you for you guys for sticking around. Have a good one and take care.